Some of the biggest bouts of all time have been staged right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. But according to the boxing establishment, tickets for tonight's De La Hoya Trinidad fight have been the toughest to get in this city's history. And folks, that includes matchups like Holmes and Cooney, Hagler Leonard, Leonard Hearns, and Tyson Holyfield. So it is no wonder that here at the Mandalay Bay Event Center, a packed house of more than 12,000 fans, some having paid scalpers up to $7,000 a ticket, this fight has generated $13.5 million, the largest non-heavyweight gate in boxing history. Celebrities here, it is indeed a star-studded affair. Jack Nicholson, Jim Lampley, friend and superstar. Dr. J, the original highlight film. John Elway, Magic Johnson on hand. Charles Barkley from the basketball world, big fans indeed. There's Elway, back-to-back Super Bowl title winner. Shaq O'Neal, hopefully he's not going to box. Pat Riley, coach of the Miami Heat. And the list goes on and on. Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf. All here because they love boxing. Ed Norton, Kirstie Alley, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and of course Michael Douglas, one half, and now the other half of the hottest duo in Hollywood, Sylvester Stallone and Billy Crystal, Oscars host extraordinaire. Brad Pitt and Ed Norton, as you well know, involved in a current release appropriately entitled The Fight Club. And good evening once again, everyone. I'm James Brown, and we thank you for joining us for TVKO's presentation of Championship Boxing. My co-host tonight, boxing's only undisputed champion, considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, light heavyweight champion Roy Jones. The moment of reckoning is almost here. Let me put you on the spot now. Size up the fighters' strengths and weaknesses and who you like.
Well, I think Oscar De La Hoya's strength is in the fact that he's been through this numerous of times before. Therefore, he's going to have patience, be selective about what punches he throws, not go out there and let his guns show early. Felix Trinidad, on the other hand, has to go out there and not be so aggressive. He has to be aggressive, but he can't be so aggressive until he spills his beans and shows Oscar everything that he has. Because if he does that, then it may be a long night for him.
We talked about Oscar being somewhat of a chameleon. He can adjust his style. Trinidad only knows one way to fight. Which style will prevail tonight in your mind?
I don't know. That's why we have this big fight, JB. However, I know Trinidad is going to come out there and he's going to be relentless. If the fight goes late, I'm looking for Trinidad's relentlessness to be a key factor in this fight because he will not let up if he ever gets into the fight. So Oscar has to try to keep Trinidad out of the fight completely, because if he doesn't, it'll come back to hunt him down the line. In the early part of the fight, though, I think I have to lean more towards Oscar because he's smart, he's very selective with his punches, and he throws big bombs that have a lot of shock on him.
De La Hoya has acknowledged he does not very often listen to his corner. I think his instincts are pretty good. We'll find out how good they are tonight. Let's take you back downstairs to Jim Lampley.
All right, JB, we said at the beginning of the evening that it was a privilege. Now as the moment arrives, it feels, at least in this heart, like an even bigger privilege than was anticipated. So Larry Merchant, in this sport whose public relations are constantly at stake, it is thought on the part of many that it's important, significant somehow, for the sport's biggest crossover star, its biggest public icon, Oscar De La Hoya, to win. Is that true?
Yes, but again, maybe not. Yes, because Oscar De La Hoya attracts non-believers into the boxing fold. But no, because every great fighter found out that it's what you do after you lose that really counts when you look back at your career. Should the other fighter happen to win the fight tonight, what would happen? Well, we know that Trinidad status would rise. He would have a rematch with De La Hoya. There would be other mega showdowns down the road. That is the nature of the game. But what boxing truly needs tonight is a fight that lives up to or even exceeds the very high expectations for this fight. It would also be nice if we got a decision that was just in the end, which may be asking a little too much of this sordid but beautiful, beautiful sport. We've been waiting a long time while this fight cooked, Jim. It's a beautiful souffle. Now we get to taste it.
And at this point, it is impossible to discipline yourself not to ask for both the moon and the stars, because we know that it's possible. final word before they come into the ring from the sport's other major crossover star, George Foreman. George, what must each man do to win?
Trinidad, he's gotten here by being himself, going forward, throwing bum after bum, let the 12 rounds stop him. If he continues to do that, he can be successful. Oscar De La Hoya has got to throw left jabs, moving to the left, left jab, moving to the right. Jab all night and set things up and do not become a stationary target.
All right. Let's hear the national anthem of the United States of America from Latino singing star John Cicada.
Attention, please. Would everyone please remain standing as we honor America with the Star-Spangled Banner, to be performed by a very special guest here this evening at the Mandalay Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, international recording star, Mr. John Cicada.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. John Cicada.
Tale of the tape now for the most anticipated non-heavyweight showdown of this decade. Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad are less than 3 months apart in age, less than a half-inch apart in height. They weighed in equally at 147. De La Hoya believes that it is to his advantage that he has gained only 5 pounds since the weigh-in, as opposed to the 9 pounds gained by Trinidad. Our measurement shows a 3-inch reach advantage for De La Hoya. We have seen other measurements which differ from that, but that's what we got with our tape. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
These numbers may surprise some people. These fighters, despite their reputations as terrific offensive fighters, don't throw a lot of punches in the ring. This is against 3 common opponents, Camacho, Carr, and Whitaker. They are measured assassins. And look at how often they jab, roughly the same.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Oscar De La Hoya Felix Trinidad fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Given the choice between entering the ring last or choosing the gloves, Felix Trinidad chose Reyes gloves. So he comes in first now to the accompaniment of the music of a couple of fellows named Fat Joe and Big Pun. They are in the ring.
Phyllis.
Felix Trinidad. Boricua, ¿dónde está Boricua? Yeah, Felix Trinidad. One time, say yeah, Felix Trinidad. And you don't stop. One time. Yeah, Felix Trinidad. Puerto Rico. Boricua. Felix Trinidad, #1. Nice. That's right. Felix Trinidad, #1. Boricua, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está los Boricua? Salsa.
That is Felix Trinidad's father right in front of him.
Crowd fills every available inch of space in the arena. This is an exceptionally lengthy walk-in as the result. You can see with your own eyes Trinidad and his surrounding entourage limited to a step or so at a time as they gradually make their way in. Trinidad's father peeking over his left shoulder. His trainer, renowned for his dictatorial control of his son's career. Here in Las Vegas, he has, for the most part, shielded his son from media. They are a private group. And you get a sense from looking at Felix's eyes that suddenly it all comes clear to him. How big this is, how different it is from everything else he has done in his career.
In my experience, Jim, fighters like this who have shown the talent, the ambition, have sustained it for a long time, usually live up to the moment.
At the moment, they are stalled. Unbelievable that security forces in this arena have not been able to make a walkway for the fighter to get to the ring. There could be no higher priority beyond public safety than that Trinidad makes it to the ring.
Where are they? Does anybody see anyone? This is like the ultimate traffic jam in Manhattan. Gridlock.
But this could be a ploy on the side of Trinidad people to keep the music going, the noise going, to annoy Oscar De La Hoya for coming out last. Trinidad is not upset about it at all.
So do you think that this could create a distraction for De La Hoya?
Yeah, it seems like the Trinidad show is going on out here for the longest. And he may be a what you call a co-star if he doesn't be careful.
Remember when Mike Tyson refused to leave his locker room in 1988 prior to his fight with Michael Spinks, giving Spinks extra time to think about the confrontation?
Yeah, they're loving every minute of it. It's staged. You got different music, a different stage.
Well, now the group begins to move as the beefy security guards in front of them begin to take control, and the crowd responds as they see the fighter approach the ring. "35 fights for Felix Trinidad, 35 wins, 30 by knockout, and his record in title fights, downright extraordinary."
It's not only 15-0 with 13 KOs, Jim. All of his title fights have been at welterweight, unlike De La Hoya.
So now Felix will wait in the ring as De La Hoya will try to get through the same crowd. Let's see if it moves any more quickly for Oscar. Well, no apparent traffic jam for De La Hoya for the moment, as he seems to be moving right along. Either the Trinidad delay was a ploy, or the security forces somehow figured out in short order how to get it right for De La Hoya. De La Hoya's record eerily similar to that of Trinidad. 31 wins, 25 by knockout. Also a good record in title fights, but as Larry Merchant pointed out, quite a number of those title fights in the lower weight classes, 130, 135, and 140, before he arrived at welterweight in 1997. And now, for the official introductions, let's go back to ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos al Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, Boxing Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum and his Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated King of Beers Brewery Fresh Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Present World Championship Boxing, the unification bout for the IBF and WBC titles in the welterweight division. An event so big, it took two of the newest Las Vegas resorts to bring it to you. Presented in association with the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino and Paris, Las Vegas Casino Resort. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem, Commissioners Glenn Carano, Lorenzo Fertitta, Dr. Luther Mack, and Dr. James Nave, Executive Director Mark Ratner, Timekeeper at the bell Jane Broadfoot, counting for the knockdown seconds Al Bicep, Lead Physician Dr. Flip Homansky, Ringside Physicians Dr. James Wishgame, Dr. Al Capana, and Dr. Margaret Goodman, WBC President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor for the WBC John Morris, IBF President Robert W. Lee Sr., Supervisor for the IBF Bobby Lee Jr. The three judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Glenn Hamada, Bob Logiste, and Jerry Roth. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Mitch Halpern. And now, ladies and gentlemen, y ahora, damas y caballeros, the time has arrived for the ultimate confrontation. 12 rounds of boxing for the welterweight championship of the world. Are you ready? Damas y caballeros, ¿están listos? From Mandalay Bay, Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, in the blue corner, presentamos primero, wearing white and weighing in at 147 pounds. He brings a perfect professional record to this ring. 35 bouts, 35 victories, including 30 knockouts with 8 KOs in the very first round. 27 knockouts in 5 rounds or less. He has been a world champion for 6 years, fighting in 15 world title bouts, 13 ended by knockout, and he has faced 6 world champions. Tonight, he puts it all on the line. Tonight, he looks for victory and glory. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the reigning and defending undefeated IBF welterweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Cupe Alto, Puerto Rico, presentamos Felix Trinidad. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue with white, he also weighed in at 147 pounds. In 1992, he captured Olympic gold, and now, as a professional, he has a perfect record consisting of 31 bouts, 31 victories with 25 victories by knockout, 22 of those knockouts coming in 5 rounds or less. Since March of 1994, he has consecutively held 4 world championships, fought in 19 world title bouts, 14 ending by knockout, and he has faced 12 world champions. Tonight, he also puts it all on the line in his quest for victory and glory. From East LA, he is the 4-time world champion and reigning and defending undefeated WBC welterweight champion of the world. Damas y caballeros, presentamos el niño de oro, the golden boy, Oscar de la Hoya.
Felix Trinidad does not have a mouthpiece. It's astonishing that after all of that lengthy walk to the ring, they could delay in trying to find a mouthpiece in the corner. And you begin to get the impression that Trinidad wants to stall and force De La Hoya to lose his warm-up before the fight begins.
You would think that, but his father seemed to be surprised about it too.
Now they take time to rub Trinidad's body in the corner. I don't think there's any question they're stalling.
There's a mouthpiece missing, and they've got a scavenger hunt outside the ring looking for one. They've all been celebrating this fight. Somebody forgot to do his job.
Meanwhile, De La Hoya, who was lathered up in his dressing room earlier, looks extraordinarily dry. So Oscar goes back into his corner and begins to move again to try to get the warm-up back. Harold Letterman tells us that the fighter is required to come to the ring with 2 mouthpieces. So the Trinidad corner has misplaced not 1, but 2 of them.
This way may prompt a new rule that the commissioners are going to supervise the mouthpieces from this point on.
Maybe somebody picked somebody's pocket while they were having that long walk to the ring, George.
Big mistake. But I think the crowd, they're so excited about being here, and the people at home, they don't even mind.
What an anticlimax, though.
Yeah, you build to a crescendo. There they go back to the dressing room.
And we believe this is a security guard carrying a mouthpiece to the Trinidad corner.
If these were younger fighters, inexperienced fighters, you might theorize that it would bother somebody. I don't think anybody will remember this a few minutes from now. But every time you think you've seen everything in boxing, somebody does something like this.
Well, were they stalling? Or did they, amid the big fight hoopla, forget one of the basics?
Punches up. This will be a clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Any questions, touch, trust, good luck.
We've been talking the talk. Now it's here. They've got to fight the fight.
An unusually vigorous touching of gloves between 2 fighters who seem to like each other less and less every day. Round 1 begins.
De La Hoya moving immediately.
De La Hoya is going to keep his motion left and right, make Trinidad reach out for everything he gets. And at the same time, Trinidad has got to close the distance and look for one good shot to keep him hurt every round. Send him back to his corner. Hurt.
A cautious start. Trinidad doing most of the punching. De La Hoya blocking the punches with his gloves.
And Trinidad made the ultimate mistake by allowing De La Hoya to get into his rhythm. You don't want him to do it. You should charge him and make him get off rhythm and find it in the latter rounds, maybe the 2nd or 3rd round.
But Felix is known to be a slow starter. And the overwhelming majority of his knockdowns, the times he has been knocked down by opponents, has happened in the 2nd round. And there, De La Hoya gets in a little left hook. His first landed blow.
Trinidad's got a lot of respect because he's seen Oscar De La Hoya's a record of knockouts. You just can't charge in. And he's been a little reluctant at this point.
Well, it's like a rattlesnake and a cobra sizing each other up for now.
Someone's got to start the fight. It seems Felix Trinidad has done it.
Trinidad much more willing to let his hands go, and then De La Hoya fires the jab right up the pipe.
Now, De La Hoya dictated when he moved and when he stopped. This is not good for Trinidad. You've got to dictate when he stops. Back him into the rope and make him throw shots.
De La Hoya a little short with his first attempted big left hook. Neither fighter has established the jab. Trinidad now starting to fire it with much greater frequency. De La Hoya still blocking it with his gloves. Blocked again.
De La Hoya moves to his left and then back to the right to make Trinidad pick up his feet and start all over again.
The De La Hoya camp saying that they believe Trinidad has trouble with a fighter who goes side to side. Larry Merchant says, hey, everybody does.
Now, Oscar's backing Trinidad up without even throwing a punch, just his big shoulder width. Powerful
right hand by De La Hoya. And a right hand lead went straight through Trinidad's guard. Trinidad with a little left hook to the top of De La Hoya's head. But by far the more authoritative punches in the first round belong to De La Hoya. Trinidad throwing a lot more.
Now we got the first left hook to the body by Felix Trinidad. And you can believe Oscar's going to try to pay him back for that.
A tactical round.
Any question how much respect these 2 guys have for each other? When Spanish is spoken in the corners, our translator is Ray Torres.
Lo estás haciendo muy bien.
You're doing well, Oscar.
Él se está haciendo setup todo el tiempo.
Oscar, he's
No
trying
lo
to set
dejes.
you up. Don't let him
Manténlo a la
set you up.
distancia de afuera.
Maintain the
Esa es tu
distance
pelea.
from
Ese
the
es tu
outside.
ritmo, ¿ok?
Your fight is
Sigue
in the
trabajando
outside.
así.
Your
Nada
rhythm
más
is got to be
que trabajes
outside.
más con
Work,
los jabs. Ocúpalo
work
un poquito
nicely,
más.
and make sure your jabs are out
Algo muy
there.
importante. Me
Very
tiraste un
important.
gancho muy por arriba. No, recórtaselo, ¿ok?
Pepe está para eso, Pepe. Pepe está para eso, Pepe. Pepe. ¿Está para eso? Sí, Pepe está para eso ahí.
Yeah, Pepe said taking care of everything.
Calma, ahí con calma. Y todo el mundo con calma.
Everything will calm. You jab, and the jab will come in, and everything will be okay. You got better boxing than him.
Seconds out. Tú tienes el mejor boxeo. No te go, seconds out.
Oscar has been programmed to fight a smart, conservative fight, choosing the times to engage, and he did that in the first round.
Yeah, but how conservative can you get? De La Hoya threw only 19 punches in round number 1. Trinidad throwing only 34. De La Hoya landing at a much higher rate, 6 out of 19 to 7 out of 34 for Trinidad. Felix obviously wants to be more aggressive in the second round as he begins to fire with both hands.
Good left jab now starting to connect by Oscar De La Hoya. If we get into a jabbing match, believe me, Oscar's going to get the best of it because his is stiffer. Trinidad is off to the side a little bit with the side of his left hand. What has thrown Trinidad off more than anything is the size of Oscar De La Hoya's shoulders.
Why?
They're wide, massive for that weight.
So?
You don't expect, you would say, I'm going to run this guy over, I'm going to beat him up, and then you see these big shoulders, it makes you stop.
De La Hoya moving to his left, seemingly wants to lure Trinidad in. De La Hoya telling us yesterday, I want him to come at me, I want to make him miss, I want to make him pay.
Good stiff jab by De La Hoya. Whenever it gets into a jabbing match, you can believe Trinidad doesn't want it like that.
Trinidad just a shade off with the right hand. Clipped De La Hoya's ear rather than to pound against the side of his head. Crowd chanting Tito, Tito, Tito.
Now Oscar's starting to get flat-footed a little bit.
De La Hoya splitting his hands and landing that jab through Trinidad's guard. Right hand lands for De La Hoya too.
That jab's got Trinidad bleeding in the nose already.
Oscar bouncing through most of the first 2 rounds. He said that he would box, box, box. So far, he's mixing it up a little bit. Moving, bouncing, jabbing, and occasionally throwing a power punch.
Now, Trinidad is extremely good because his right hand goes out almost like a jab, and it gets right back into the station again. Good left hook.
Hard left hook by Trinidad, his most authoritative punch so far. And another.
Oscar has not thrown one good left hook yet, so he's got something in reserve to catch him.
Neither man has gone to the body with the exception of the one landed body punch in the first round by Felix Trinidad. And you wonder when De La Hoya will try to dig his left hook to the body. De La Hoya said his right hand would be a bigger factor. He lands another right cross there. Trinidad follows with a right hand of his own. Straight right hand lands for De La Hoya. And there's the left hook to the body. Another right hand by De La Hoya.
Esto había pasado en el gimnasio y yo sabía que iba a pasar.
All right, this happened in the gyms, no problem.
Eso se para ahora.
The blood is nothing.
Tú me le pones grasa en la cara.
Let's put some gauze on there.
Eso que tenía ¿está por ahí? Sí, yo tengo ahí. No te apures que va a seguir sangrando.
Don't worry, you're bleeding, but it's nothing.
Él está partido con el jab tuyo.
You got him. The jab is getting to him.
Olvídate de la sangre ahí que está allá para allá. Juega con la boca.
Early in the round, Trinidad left hook right to the mouth of De La Hoya. Late in the round,
Seconds out. Let's go.
a late flurry
Seconds
that
out.
might have won the round for De La Hoya.
CompuBox numbers in round 2. De La Hoya 11 of 39. Trinidad 5 of 35. Oscar has landed more successfully in each of the first 2 rounds. And again, round 3 begins with respect as the watchword. Both men seem anxious not to make a mistake, George.
And Trinidad is really trying to load up. Whenever he's stiff, move to left or right, De La Hoya moves his feet. Very wise. And Trinidad has had problems with bleeding in the nose. Pernell Whitaker had the same nosebleed coming from Trinidad.
You get the sense that Oscar is watching Trinidad's right hand and trying to time it for a counter left hook. Now Trinidad sticks his jab up the middle and lands a left hook.
That's the way you want to send your opponent back to his corner. His corner worried more about his nose than instructions.
Trinidad starting to feel his way in, seeking to be more aggressive. Little half steps, trying to cut down the distance between himself and De La Hoya.
Yeah, Trinidad has got to find his left foot right in the middle of Oscar De La Hoya's feet. Establish it there, and no matter where he goes, you control the pivot.
Left hook to the body by Trinidad as the crowd briefly chanted Tito, Tito.
I don't think I've ever seen Trinidad show so much respect for an opponent, certainly, up to now, the way he's moved.
I'm not sure I've seen Oscar De La Hoya show so much respect for an opponent.
Excuse me.
Oh, double jab at this point by De La Hoya.
I meant De La Hoya. My bad.
I think it's true of both fighters, Larry.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Sometimes with so much at stake and so much respect between fighters, we get this kind of intense tactical fight.
Well, you get the impression they both read the papers. They know what they're facing.
Oscar's able to keep moving like that without any difficulty because Trinidad is not landing any good body shots.
Oscar landed a right-hand lead. Trinidad doubled up on the jab. Now fires another jab. De La Hoya jabbing back. Uppercut lands for De La Hoya, followed by the 1-2. Oscar jabbing Trinidad back.
This turns into a jabbing contest. I tell you, Oscar De La Hoya is going to get the best of it. You don't want it to turn into that.
Oscar flurrying in the middle of the ring. Trinidad looking for an opportunity to come back. De La Hoya wasn't there. Superior movement in the first 3 rounds for Oscar De La Hoya.
Good jab. Whenever Trinidad bows down a little bit, Oscar hits him with his left jab. That has...
And flurrying in the last 10 seconds, as the great pros know how to do. To my eyes, at least, De La Hoya winning the fight with his feet so far.
Oscar, listen to me.
I'm working here. Come on, Oscar, listen to me. Relax, breathe and relax. That's it, nice. That's it. There you go. Oscar, escúchame, lo estás llevando a la escuelita, ¿ok?
Okay, you're taking him to school. You're giving him a boxing lesson.
Mantén esa distancia.
Make sure you maintain that distance. We need that distance.
Oscar, sigues muy abierto con el gancho de
You're
izquierda.
still a little wide open with that left hook. Shut it up.
Cámbiaselo de otro. Pero entras y sales, no te quedes ahí.
Sigue siendo el más técnico.
Okay, you got to be a little more careful, a little more finesse.
Y mano con el Tito, que todavía tú no llegas con las manos al cuerpo.
Tito, you haven't committed to the body. You need to get to the body.
No ha llegado con la mano al cuerpo.
You need to throw those body punches.
Did my ears deceive me? Did Felix Trinidad Sr. ask his son to be more careful and show more finesse? How much more careful could he have been in the first 3 rounds? In the third, De La Hoya by CompuBox numbers, 20 of 53. Trinidad 10 out of 33. Harold, how'd you score the first 3 rounds?
Jim, that terribly hard a score. 3-0, 30-27, Oscar De La Hoya. He's landing the cleanest shots. Trinidad walks in, and he walks into punches. I think Oscar's doing a real nice job. Beautiful ring generalship, good clean punching. Oscar wins on those 2 points.
I had the first round even, Oscar winning the next 2.
Hard right hand by De La Hoya. And if there's an early surprise offensively, it's De La Hoya's ability to land his right hand.
Roy Jones said earlier that all Oscar has to do is just wait on that lazy left hand of Oscar Trinidad, throw that right hand. Whenever he does it, it connects.
It's
Roy
working.
Jones is right.
Trinidad steps in, has a right hand lead of his own.
Only when Oscar gets a little lazy and drops his left hand and stands around. You got to keep jabbing.
Nobody's perfect, George.
Not in this arena.
Somebody's got to get a punch through sometime.
But Oscar, as long as he keeps his jab out there, he's probably surprised that he can win this fight with his left hand.
He's won every other fight with his left hand, George. You mean with his left jab?
With his left jab, that's what I meant.
Now Trinidad becomes the aggressor and begins to take over with combinations. De La Hoya trying to jab him back and create more distance between them again. Trinidad steps forward and lands a right and a left.
Now Trinidad is finding his range because Oscar decided to let him get a little closer without using the jab. You got to keep jabbing if you're Oscar De La Hoya. And Trinidad, you just got to keep moving forward.
Can De La Hoya move like this for 12 rounds?
Oh, no doubt he's one of the most conditioned fighters. Oh,
there's the left hook to the body, and Trinidad countered upstairs with a big one. The leather has begun to fly in round 4. De La Hoya double jab. Just missed with the right hand. De La Hoya blocking the Trinidad right.
Trinidad is aiming. He's even looking at Oscar's body. He shouldn't look down, just throw the punch.
Trinidad outboxed in the first 3 rounds, but making his relentless pressure begin to work for him in round number 4.
Oh, but that left jab is going to take effect because when it hits you in the top of the head as Oscar's landing, start to take juice out of your back.
Trinidad misses, but no De La Hoya flurry in the closing seconds here as Felix Trinidad has his best round of the fight.
Raise your hands up. Raise your arm. Blow my nose. Blow my nose. It's a little bloody.
Normally, they don't want you blowing your nose in a boxing match.
Every time he throws, counters. And change the height once in a while, Oscar, okay? Cámbiale la altura.
And use that up jab. The game is starting to get on for Trinidad after the left to the body. He goes with his own left to the head. He needs a couple of more rounds like that, Trinidad, so that De La Hoya has to stand and fight with him.
Trinidad begins round 5 with a big left hook. Even in round 4, in which Trinidad did so much better, De La Hoya outlanded him 20-12 by CompuBox numbers. But Trinidad with the 8-4 edge in power shots. De La Hoya scoring mostly with the jab through the first 4 rounds.
De La Hoya's got to let the fight come to him now. You don't want to start reaching into Trinidad's territory. That right hand was escaped, it touched, but it hurt Trinidad.
Trinidad discovering this is entirely different than fighting Pernell Whitaker and Hector Camacho, opponents against whom he landed half of his power shots. It's not that easy to get one in against De La Hoya, but he's getting more and more aggressive and making it work for him. If he overcommits on a right hand, though, look for Oscar to counter with a big left hook.
Yeah, Trinidad sort of jabs that right hand out. It's hard to really counter it. You just got to stand tall and throw it.
Double jab De La Hoya, then he moves to his left. Trinidad beginning to dispense with the jab, using the left to fire hooks.
And this is what you don't want to do if you're Oscar. Stay away from the ropes.
He does.
You let sleeping dogs lie. Stay away from the ropes.
Galvanized by the threat of Trinidad, De La Hoya has been able to maintain his game plan.
He's using the middle of the ring perfect. And those jabs, by the way, are starting to work against Trinidad as the fight is going more and more.
Hard right hand by De La Hoya, right up the middle. Snap Trinidad's head back.
And let me tell you, it hurts. because you don't recover. It shocks you right quick and it lingers on for a second.
Nice piece of timing by De La Hoya, who saw Trinidad drop his left and took advantage. Trinidad sticks the left this time. Stalking. Trinidad the hunter. De La Hoya the effectively hunted. Fighting back.
Now Trinidad is taking some of the sting out of his own right hand, starting to lay it out there, and you don't want to do that with Oscar De La Hoya.
Trinidad misses the right hand after De La Hoya again doubled up on the jab. Tactical boxing match. Hard right hand again by De La Hoya. The chopping right on the face of Trinidad, and another big right hand.
The best use we've seen De La Hoya make of his right hand in a long time.
Much has been made of the difficult relationship between Oscar and his father, Joel De La Hoya. Joel was in training camp 3 times to visit his son. Oscar said that's plenty. Joel told the writer, I think he looks great. Oscar said, I'd like to hear it from him.
The guy opposing. Keep moving. Feint and snap that jab.
Suck it up.
There we go. Looking good, baby. Keep him on that list.
Agua, calma. Vamos bien, sí. Y se te cerró. ¿Se cerró? Sí, se cerró. Tito, you need to put some pressure on him.
De La Hoya stopping long enough to throw a left, a straight right, followed by another left.
Trinidad's left eye is swelling. He is blinking a lot. His left eye is beginning to give him a lot of trouble. And George, you mentioned that they often tell a fighter not to blow his nose.
He should never have blown his nose. That automatically comes with the puffiness of the eye.
And all of a sudden, Trinidad's left eye is swelling dramatically. De La Hoya with a left hook to the body. Trinidad comes back with a left upstairs.
Oscar's got his excellent bounce in his feet. He's in control when you see Oscar bounce.
Left-right combination by an increasingly dominant De La Hoya.
Oh, now De La Hoya is starting to even get accurate with his right hand now.
Harold Ludeman giving that last round to Trinidad. I think I would have given it to Oscar on the big right hands.
You know, Oscar now is moving around, and he's a puncher. Although he's reluctant, you can't follow a puncher around, and Trinidad is starting to do that. He hits you, you keep coming, he's going to hit you again. Eventually, it's going to get the best of you. He's following the puncher around by picking up one foot, then picking up the other.
Trinidad perhaps feeling a sense of urgency as his left eye swells, stepping in and firing combinations. Left hook lands for De La Hoya.
De La Hoya doesn't want to start loading up this early. Keep
hard right hand by Trinidad.
Keep a little respect for Oscar. De La Hoya should keep a little respect for Trinidad. Don't start loading up.
Double hook or double jab by De La Hoya is followed by another hard right hand. The right hand has been a big weapon for Oscar De La Hoya here. After the Trinidad camp called him a one-handed fighter.
Oscar moves to the left and stops. Trinidad walks right into him. He moves to the right. Trinidad walks right into him. If you're going to follow Oscar, throw something at all times.
Crowd wants more action. Many of them not appreciating that they're seeing a superb boxing match.
Trinidad has not done any feinting. You got to feint with your left, throw your right. Feint with your right, throw your left. He hasn't done any of that.
Trinidad misses 3 times with the left hand. Make it 4. De La Hoya sticks him with the right. Trinidad backing away from the left, but then De La Hoya sticks it in his face. Big round here for Oscar.
First good right hand by Trinidad.
Hard left by De La Hoya. And another right hand lands. Gotta be a tremendous scoring round for Oscar De La Hoya.
Vamos
The fight is 12 rounds. There's nothing happened yet. We still have a long way to go. Let's be calm. Give me some water.
Ayuda tu pelea. Tú lo coges, minutito, cuando te metas adentro. Te metas adentro.
Tenlo, Oscar. ¿Me escuchas?
Listen to me, Oscar.
An impatient De La Hoya wants to get back to the action. In round 6, by CompuBox numbers, he landed 29 of 55 punches. Trinidad, who's accustomed to landing half his punches, is landing at a 27% rate. De La Hoya is up at 41%, very close to his customary 42. So it's Oscar's fight so far as we go into the 7th.
Oscar has fought about as well as he could fight in the first half of that fight.
Harold, excuse me, Larry.
If he can sustain it, the victory will be his.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Jim, I got it 4 rounds to 2, 58-56, Oscar De La Hoya. To tell you the truth, Jim, to answer you in the 5th round, I thought he heard the 10-second warning and tried to steal the round by landing a couple of nice shots. But basically, I thought Trinidad won the 5th because he was busier. The rest, Oscar De La Hoya.
I have it 4-1-1 for De La Hoya.
I would not be surprised if there are judges at ringside who have it 5-1.
I wouldn't be surprised if one had it 5-1 for Trinidad.
But you know, what you're saying is nothing would surprise you.
No.
Well, of course, you're the man who lost to Shannon Briggs, George.
But you know that Oscar is doing a good job making Trinidad expel some energy, following him around, keeping his hands up. But that left jab has done all the damage.
I have to assume that the boos are being directed at De La Hoya by the Trinidad fans who want to see Oscar stand and fight instead of moving away from their man's shots.
Trinidad has tried so hard to get a knockout. It should not have gone in that fashion. You should try to get in and just get some punches in.
Another sharp right hand by De La Hoya was just a tiny bit short. Trinidad does damage with the left hook.
Oh, but that left jab.
De La Hoya making Trinidad miss, not as frequently making him pay.
You know, the picture you get, presumably from out there among the fans, is one man dancing around the ring and the other man chasing him. There's a natural inclination to think one guy's trying to not to fight and the other guy is trying to fight.
But that's not true.
Well, he's making it work. You know, there's an old saying in boxing, win this fight, you'll look sensational in the next one. And De La Hoya is just trying to win this fight.
He's throwing just as many punches as Trinidad. He's choosing when to stand his ground and rallying and moving away.
Oh, but that's superior conditioning, the footwork.
The boxing.
Trinidad folds up and doesn't throw a shot, though. He keeps thinking Oscar's going to stop, and it doesn't happen.
Effective combination by De La Hoya. The left might have been low, the right lands flush. And another right hand up the middle. Trinidad can't stop Oscar De La Hoya's right hand. Big left by Trinidad. And another one after the bell sounds, and Mitch Halpern warns Trinidad, and De La Hoya wants to go at him.
Don't get out of your concentration. You need to stay so focused. You got to keep working the same way you're doing. You're doing good.
Box this guy to hell, Oscar. Just like you said you were going to do. Give him a boxing lesson. Okay?
Okay?
Boxing lesson.
Tito, we got to be fast.
Seconds out.
Take a look at that punch after the bell.
Jack, let's go. Seconds out.
Momentarily,
Get him off. Seconds out.
Oscar stops, catches a little jab to the whiskers.
Time.
Experienced fighter like Oscar should have had his hand up.
Go, go.
In round 7, while the Trinidad fans were booing De La Hoya, by CompuBox numbers, Oscar threw 71 punches, more than doubling Trinidad's output of only 33. They're booing De La Hoya because when he moves this effectively, Felix can't find him.
Trinidad had no idea that Oscar could be so dynamic. He's moving left, he's moving right, and he throws a jab whenever he wants.
Trinidad's swelling right eye is now, or left eye I should say, is now under control. Left hook over the top, but Trinidad not able to get the leverage into his punches that he's accustomed to getting.
Oscar's doing too much moving. By the time he's set, Oscar's in another position.
Trinidad with 2 right hands. De La Hoya blocked 1 shot. Oscar stands and flurries with the left. Comes back with a straight right. And another right hand right down the pipe. Again, Trinidad unable to stop Oscar De La Hoya's right cross. You look for something unexpected, that's it. Left hook to the body. Mitch Halpern wants him to bring it up.
Oh, but a good right hand by Oscar De La Hoya.
Suddenly Oscar setting up the left, or setting up his right hand with the left.
I get the sense, Jim and George, that Oscar thinks that Trinidad is weakening and that he can go at him straight forward more than he has before. Whether he's right or wrong remains to be seen, but he seems to think so.
Would be a fatal mistake.
Right there.
Standing and fighting.
Because he moved, Trinidad gets the idea that he's not a puncher. You can never forget, though he's moving and on his toes, Oscar's the best power puncher in that weight division.
Well, what he's showing is great self-discipline, De La Hoya. He moves, he stops, he throws 3 or 4 punch combination, and he gets right out of there before Trinidad can respond. Trinidad has to now start to really make some desperate moves to change the rhythm of this fight.
Right.
Otherwise, he'll be out of it.
He can't keep fighting this way because he's losing.
Oh, but that left jab just bends his neck back, and back. And it's like a bull and a matador. The matador sticks him and he continuously plots in. You don't want that. But at this point, Trinidad has to continue going and going and going.
A nice left hook by Trinidad, and Oscar even nodded to him as if to say, that was a good punch.
But it's 1 punch in a round in which De La Hoya has landed a number of combinations. And we've seen what happens when Oscar De La Hoya is behind in the late rounds of a big fight. What happens with Felix Trinidad?
Here's been the difference in what De La Hoya has done tonight. More straight right hands. He's always been considered a left-handed fighter with his jab, his hook, his uppercut, and he's used his right hand more than we've seen before. And here is the jab, which has kept Trinidad off balance, unable to counter.
I've not seen a welterweight that active and with that good left jab. No.
CompuBox numbers on the jabs through round 8. Again, Oscar De La Hoya off his stool very early.
You know, everybody has spent a lot of energy looking back at Hearns and Leonard and comparing this fight to that one, certainly as a great promotion, as a fight everybody was looking forward to with tremendous anticipation. It's there, but the fight itself has been drained of its drama so far by De La Hoya.
Oh, when you're an expert and you got a left jab, you can keep the drama out of it.
He's simply been too good. In round 8, CompuBox numbers, De La Hoya 30 out of 64, Trinidad 15 out of 39. Another big round, numerically at least, for De La Hoya.
Trinidad's better keep his right hand up when he bows down. Oscar can see it, a little inch, and he's throwing at it.
Oscar popping Trinidad with a 4-punch combination, stepping forward, going to the body, back upstairs. Outclass is too big a word for what's happening here, but it's verging on that as De La Hoya piles up the points. Now Trinidad with a right hand. just not enough of them. There's a big power shot by Felix, and he almost pins De La Hoya in the corner.
Well, when you're doing that good as De La Hoya is, you don't mind your guy throwing some shots because you got your eye on him and you know exactly what he can't do. It's like a sparring match at this point.
And as De La Hoya has decided to shorten the distance between himself and Trinidad, Trinidad has now gotten the chance to land some of his bigger shots. He's landed bigger punches in this round than had been the case for 4 or 5 rounds. Partially blocked. Felix stalking again, trying to trap De La Hoya in the corner. Oscar's feet still moving him around. De La Hoya blocked the right, got away from the left. Good defensive skills on display.
Since those early flurries, De La Hoya hasn't done anything in this round.
Trinidad has taken a lot of the power out of his punches and they're getting to be more accurate.
This is a hit-and-run fight for De La Hoya.
Trinidad chasing, landing some of his power shots in this round, taking combinations in return. Another right hand flush on the face of Felix.
Now, those right hands don't carry the power of his left hand, but Trinidad has been able to deal with the left hand, those left hooks. He hasn't been ready for the straight right hands.
Those straight right hands look good on the scorecard, whether they do damage or not. Another combination by De La Hoya. De La Hoya with more energy as the round comes to a close. Trinidad's best round in a while, but was it enough?
De La Hoya has simply shown more versatility.
Round 10 coming up.
Moving your head like that. Just move side to side. And don't stand still in front of the guy.
Deep breaths. Escuchas, Oscar. Oscar, oye, escuchas, de lado a lado.
Side to side, Oscar. You gotta listen. You got him controlled. You got the fight. You got the fight.
We need just a little bit more. Make sure you won the rounds, okay?
Ahora tienes que tú meter tus manos. ¿Está bien?
Okay.
Vamos a tirar mano, Tito. Vamos a tirar mano. Vamos a tirar mano. Vamos a pelear con él.
De La Hoya caught a lot of punches in this round, but the most dramatic punches were landed by him, which could be the difference in the scoring. I think on everybody's scorecard here, Felix Trinidad is going to have to do something dramatic and do it soon to turn this around.
He stands in front of Oscar, not moving his head, and then Oscar sticks him with that stiff left jab.
Oscar De La Hoya has had 2 knockouts past the 9th round in his career. Felix Trinidad only one. It was against Anthony Stevens 6 years ago. Now Trinidad starts to rally in search of the knockout he would appear to need to upend Oscar De La Hoya. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Jim, 6 rounds to 3, 87-84, Oscar De La Hoya. Boxing beautifully. I think Felix Trinidad's just not sharp. I don't know if he expected Oscar to be in front of him or not, but, you know, hey, Oscar right there. Oscar's moving beautifully. That's ring generalship. Landing great shots. That counts in the scoring. Beautiful job by Oscar De La Hoya so far. At least a 3-point lead.
I have it 6 rounds to 2 and 1 even.
And while Harold gave the last round to Trinidad, and I'm sure many other scorers did, by CompuBox numbers, De La Hoya threw more, landed 27 punches to only 16 for Trinidad. Trinidad's were the heavier blows.
Trinidad is jabbing with his right hand now. It's not any power in it, just a jab.
He's just trying to land something.
He's trying to load up with a left hook. It misses all night, getting prepared for it, and then it misses.
It's desperation time, and Trinidad knows it, and so does De La Hoya.
When you're desperate like that for a few rounds, the judges are watching it, and they think that you're in control.
De La Hoya punishing Trinidad to the body. Trying to take some of Trinidad's power away as Felix tries to rally down the stretch. Oscar lands a little left hook and then steps away.
Trinidad is doing everything he should do. Oscar's just not making it work.
Not allowing it to work.
He's not allowing it to work.
Trinidad comes back with a little left to the body. De La Hoya parries him off with the jab.
You know, what I find so interesting is that De La Hoya made his reputation through most of his fights as a warrior. Here he is, a boxer in his biggest fight.
Oscar De La Hoya has had a pattern of swelling under the left eye for the past couple of years. It happened against Obucar, happened against Miguel Angel Gonzalez, happened against Ike Quartey, and now it's happening again tonight as Trinidad's right hand begins to produce some swelling. De La Hoya rallies in the last 10 seconds. Left hook to the body, a right uppercut. Trinidad comes back with a straight right hand, and they trade punches as the bell sounds to end the tooth.
Okay, Oscar. No more rounds like this one, okay? Check right here. Oscar.
How do you feel, Oscar? Okay? Box the next 2 rounds.
That's all what you need. 2 more rounds.
Just box the next 2
Okay,
rounds.
that's it. And we go home.
Once in a while, Nail to get his respect.
All right, the worst thing is over now. Now it's your fight. He's finished. We gotta take him now. He's all beat up already. Now we gotta go to work. Now it's your fight.
Let's go. Seconds out, let's go.
Trinidad with a 24-15 edge in power shots in round 10. Felix's dad slapping him between rounds as if to say, wake up, come on, the time is now. Trinidad steps in to try to knock De La Hoya out.
Can't wait. You got to do what you're going to do if you're Trinidad. You can't stop and look at what you're going to do.
Fight getting closer on Harold Letterman's card. Trinidad still with a mathematical chance to draw there, or to win if he could get a 2-point round.
You told him to box, but he should have said jab and box. Don't try to win the fight by just saving the fight. Try to win the fight.
You heard Robert Alcazar tell him, box, box, box.
Oscar is just running now. He's not fighting back at all so far.
He's used his legs so much tonight. It would be a miracle if he had anything left.
Both fighters claiming, of course, that they trained more for this fight than for any other fight in their career. Both fighters probably, in fact, did just that.
Trinidad is looking for a knockout. You got to look to just land. Forget about the knockout. You got to throw lots of punches if you're Trinidad. The knockout will come if you connect.
But it's hard to throw punches at a moving target.
And that's what's happening tonight.
Oscar has moved for 10.5 rounds.
Yeah, but what's so interesting is Oscar's always been the one to close the show. Now he's trying to close the show by guaranteeing a victory for himself simply by staying away from Trinidad.
Well, let's see what his instincts lead him to do in round 12. Trinidad with a right hand to the body. De La Hoya moving away, jabbing, trying to do just enough to keep Felix off of him, virtually giving away the round. Now De La Hoya back with some straight punches, but still, it's Trinidad throwing the bigger thunder.
You don't want to stop and let that puncher hit you with anything. Oscar's got to make him respect him. Throw something hard. Just throw anything hard.
This is not an edifying moment for De La Hoya the way he's fought this round. It's not what his fans have expected from him.
But he lands a big left hook there, and it gets him off the ropes.
It's a fight that Oscar's going to have to fight to win. He won't be able to just coast to a victory.
go.
Tito, we're gonna win. We need the last round. You gotta be loose now.
Last round, Oscar, last round.
3 minutes. 3 minutes. Respira, descansa.
You got it.
Felix, last round, last round.
Respira, descansa, Oscar.
Breathe
Oscar.
and breathe and relax.
3 minutos.
Oscar, 3
Oscar,
minutes.
don't pressure. ¿Me escuchas?
You're listening. Tito, you gotta pressure him. Okay. How are you feeling? Are you okay? He says he's good.
Uno más.
One more round. One more round. That's all it is.
Seconds out. Come on, get out of there. Let's go. Last round. Touch plus.
You can feel the scorecards narrowing as round 12 begins. Harold Letterman, how do you have it going into the last frame?
105, 104, 6 rounds to 5. Oscar De La Hoya. Jim, the question is, can you win a fight running away? Tito Trinidad took control of this fight round 9, swept 9, 10, and 11. He's got to win round 12 to at least pull out a draw.
I have Oscar ahead by a little bit more than that. 6-4-1.
This is going to be a hard fight to decide scorecard. Oscar's got to hit him, make him respect him, and pull it out that way.
Well, we've talked and talked about the home court factor. The question of whether Tito Trinidad can get a decision against Oscar De La Hoya in Las Vegas. And we may be about to find out as De La Hoya's big margin in the early rounds of the fight seems to be evaporating now.
A lot of this is fatigue and not the power of Trinidad.
But Oscar's still moving.
Well, if you choose to fight this kind of fight, fatigue will set in.
Yeah, he's fighting the fight he had to fight.
Who would have suspected that they could go 12 rounds and neither fighter would be genuinely hurt?
I don't think that De La Hoya has endeared himself to the fans here tonight, but he probably has endeared himself to the officials.
And he's endeared himself to his trainers Robert Alcazar and Gil Clancy, who begged him for weeks to come in here and box. He has followed his plan. Was it an aggressive enough plan? Many questions to be answered after these next 55 seconds go away.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be a judge tonight.
Judge Glenn Hamada from Washington State. Judge Jerry Roth from Las Vegas. Judge Bob Loziest from Belgium. They hold it in their hands as Trinidad lands a hard right to the body. De La Hoya comes back with a couple of jabs.
De La Hoya's not throwing any straight right hands anymore.
He's not throwing much of anything except for these rare occasions when he stops and rallies. And here he'll try to steal the round.
George, you tell me, do you think that De La Hoya has won the fight the way he's fought the last several rounds?
I don't think so. I think he had the fight in control, and now he's leaving it in the hand of the judges. And this is about which judge saw the beauty contest his way or not.
I have him winning the fight 6 rounds to 5 and 1 even. My suspicion is he'll get a few more points than that from the judges.
That is exactly my suspicion as well. It was not what boxing fans hoped for. Now will it be what De La Hoya hoped for? Harold, what's your final score?
Jim, I disagree totally. Felix Trinidad, absolutely, without question, swept 9, 10, 11, and 12. He pressed the action. He woke up. Something happened. De La Hoya stopped throwing punches. Felix Trinidad deserves a draw. 114, 114, 6 rounds apiece. They're 1-0 even rounds. They were decisive rounds. One guy or the other won. Oscar boxed beautifully through the first 6 or so. Felix only won 2 of those. He won 4 and 5. But Felix swept the 4 rounds decisively at the end of the fight.
Harold, early in the fight, you gave a round to Trinidad, which I felt was clearly De La Hoya's. Now let's see if the judges felt the same way, in which case it would be a 7-5 win for Oscar. But not what boxing fans expected or hoped for. It was a tactical, cautious, respect-filled boxing match. Trinidad became the attacker only when it was clear that he was behind and desperate. De La Hoya controlled the first half of the fight easily with his boxing skills. The question now, did he give that margin away by failing to fight down the stretch? Michael Buffer has the numbers in his hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the Budweiser scorecards. Glenn Hamada scores the bout 114 to 114. He has it even. Bob Logis scores the bout 115 to 114. And Jerry Roth scores the bout 115 to 113 for the winner by majority decision, de Puerto Rico and the unified welterweight champion of the world, Felix Trinidad.
So that answers the question of whether Felix Trinidad could get a decision against Oscar De La Hoya in Las Vegas. Yes, he could. George, did Trinidad win it, or did De La Hoya give it away?
De La Hoya gave it away. The last couple of rounds, it was there for him. All he had to do was reach out and pop. He let the guy have the fight.
A tactical error down the stretch by Oscar De La Hoya. And Felix Trinidad wins exactly the kind of fight he didn't want to fight. A cautious, respectful boxing match in which Trinidad takes over the welterweight division. And a sudden show of respect between the two fighters after months of disrespect in media. Let's take a look on tape at the reaction of winner and loser to the scores as they were announced. That's Trinidad learning that he had won. And that's De La Hoya discovering that he had lost. The first loss in the career of the Golden Boy, while Tito stays unbeaten. And now Larry Merchant is in the ring with the winner.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim. Tito, congratulations. Did you think that you would be able to overcome the tactics employed by Oscar De La Hoya in this fight?
¿Pensaste tú que podías sobrevivir esas tácticas que empleó Oscar De La Hoya?
No, Oscar es un buen peleador, un peleador rápido, pero yo tenía muchas ganas de ganar y muy gran condición. Yo lo había dicho en todas las conferencias.
I knew that Oscar's a great fighter, but I had the will to win. I had told everybody, the press, I was going to win.
Were you surprised that you were able to get a decision here in Las Vegas, which is Oscar's home turf?
¿Te sorprendió que ganaste la decisión aquí en Las Vegas, en la casa de Oscar De La Hoya?
Sí, de verdad que yo vine a ganar y siempre lo dije, ¿sabes? Yo soy humilde y lo dije, vengo a ganar, yo tengo un solo saco, ganar.
I came to win. I didn't know. I'm very humble. I didn't know if I was going to win by a knockout or decision, but I figured I would win.
Were you frustrated that you were unable to fight your normal fight, put your punches together, land some heavy ones?
No, te frustró que tú no pudiste hacer lo que tú querías porque él se movió mucho y meter los golpes bien fuertes.
Se movió bastante y algunas veces me confundí un poco, pero yo soy un gran peleador. Mi esquina me dijo, sigue atacándolo, y eso yo hice.
He moves well and he moved too much, but my corner told me keep attacking, and that's what I did.
Did you feel desperation as you moved into the later rounds?
¿Sentiste tú alguna desesperación que podías perder cuando llegaste a los últimos rounds?
No, en ese round fue que yo puse todo mi impulso para poder ganar la pelea, y así lo hice. Yo soy un gran campeón, también lo es de la Hoya, pero yo soy un gran campeón.
Not really. I knew it was close, so what I did in the later rounds, I put the pressure and it came out.
The best in the world. Number one, the best in the world, okay? Puerto Rico.
Yes.
All right, will you give Oscar De La Hoya a rematch?
¿Le dar una revancha de Oscar De La Hoya?
Eso tenemos que negociarlo con el señor Don King. Y no sé, sería otra gran pelea, porque verdad que él también se lo merece, él también es un gran campeón.
We need to discuss that and negotiate it with Don King. Oscar deserves a rematch, but we need to talk about that.
Pero quisiera hacerle una pregunta a Oscar, que está aquí al frente de mí ahora.
He wants to ask a question.
Que me conteste él, sinceramente.
Oscar, he wants to ask you a question.
Si yo valgo los 10.5 o no. Que me lo diga sinceramente.
Wait, I don't know. Okay, wait, what did he ask?
He asked, am I worth the $10.5 million? Now he's going to answer.
Let me say this. Every fighter tries to say different things to hype themselves up. And, you know, my tactic was to try to take away his confidence because I knew he's a very confident fighter. So that was my tactic. But, hey, look, we can go to dinner right now if you want.
Hey, Oscar!
Hey, no, we're both great fighters.
You are.
Congratulations, Tito, again.
Quiero mandar un saludo, por favor.
He wants to say hello to Puerto Rico.
Quiero saludar a mi tía en Nueva York, a Albanidia, a Daniel, a mi Kima, a todos los muchachos. Y especial, un beso bien grande a Melanie, Stephanie, a mi madre, Irma Doris, a Achille Nicole y mi esposa Sharon. Puerto Rico, los quiero. Mañana vamos a celebrar. Cupay Alto, que viva Puerto Rico. ¡Viva Puerto Rico! Él es invitado especial. Te invito a Puerto Rico.
No, yo quiero Puerto Rico mucho.
All right, Oscar, you seem to be taking this setback extremely well. Are you really hurting inside?
You know, I know I won. You know, he's a great fighter. I thought I put a boxing lesson of my life. I mean, people were expecting me to duke it out. He's a very strong fighter, but I was making them miss and making them pay, and I'm hurt.
You're hurting.
I'm hurt inside, emotionally.
Because your plan didn't work?
My plan did work. I thought it did work, but hey, I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a great champion. I praise him a lot, and hopefully we can do it again.
You made your reputation as a smart warrior. Tonight, the feeling some people will have going away from here is that instead of closing the show the way we've seen you before in big fights, that you were protecting a lead and threw a fight that you were winning away.
Oh my gosh, I thought I had the fight won easy. I mean, by outboxing them, by outclassing them. And that's what people didn't see all along in Oscar De La Hoya. Throughout my last few fights, people know I'm a warrior. I can stay in there with anybody. But I wanted to demonstrate a boxing show, and I guess it didn't work.
The people in your corner obviously were telling you that what you were doing was working, and you believed them, right?
Of course it was working. I felt it in my heart that it was working. But primeramente un saludo a todos mis mexicanos, amigos. Ganamos, pero de vuelta la vamos a hacer de vuelta y ni modo, pero voy a trabajar más duro para el siguiente a ganar.
Translation.
I just told them that I worked hard. I'm very sorry, all my Mexican fans. I love you guys. I'll be back.
If you had to do it all over again, I know you would you stop and trade with him more than you did? Because you more than held your own when you did trade with him.
I hold my own. I mean, there was no problem, but I wanted to demonstrate a boxing lesson. That's what I wanted. And I guess people didn't appreciate that tonight.
So that when you went out for the so-called championship rounds, the 11th and the 12th rounds, your thought is, I've won the fight. I'm not going to give this dangerous opponent a chance to turn it around.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, he's a very strong fighter. I give him all the credit in the world. I praise the guy a lot. and I was protecting the rounds I had in the bag, which were most of the fight. But I just want to show what great foot movement I have inside the ring. Boxing ability counts a lot, not just my brawling style.
Where do you go from here, Oscar?
I'm going to take a vacation, be with my family, and rethink all this over, and we'll see what happens.
Presumably you want a rematch.
Oh, of course, definitely. People will demand it, and I will, I guess next time, be a brawler.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
Gracias. Un saludo a todos.
Jim?
All right, Larry. Final CompuBox numbers, and make of these what you will. There's no question that PunchStat numbers are gaining greater and greater currency and influence in the sport. There's also no question they don't always tell the whole story. But De La Hoya with an edge of 97 landed punches in total punches landed, and he threw 186 more punches than Trinidad. Jabs, another category dominated by De La Hoya. 143 out of 371, 42 out of 144 by Trinidad. So where did Trinidad win the fight? Well, here's his edge. Power punches. No, that just isn't true. De La Hoya landed 124 out of 318. Okay, I'm not sure what the 12 is. De La Hoya landed 124 out of 318. Trinidad 120 out of 277. Felix landing many more power punches down the stretch after Oscar had a big edge in the early rounds. George Foreman, the two corners. In Oscar's corner, two voices, Robert Alcazar and the legendary Gil Clancy. Should one or the other of them have reversed his course in the closing rounds?
Well, you have to think about this guy used a lot of his energy boxing and moving, and he really gave Trinidad a boxing lesson early on. Takes a lot of energy. You don't want to push your fighter over the edge. I think they did an excellent job. There's always tomorrow.
Well, but they did not win a fight which they seem to be functionally in control of.
You know, I would sit down and then look at this fight and say Oscar won the boxing match too, and all he had to do was protect his lead. And they felt like that too. He was ahead. He gave this guy a boxing lesson. He just coasted the last couple of rounds, and the judges gave it to the other guy.
Would a rematch be more explosive?
More explosive. Oscar will have more to prove, and I think that he'll get a knockout this time. He will not play around.
So you're picking De La Hoya to win the rematch by knockout?
Because he can do it. Why he didn't do it tonight, I don't know why.
All right, let's take a look at how the three judges scored it round by round. And incidentally, the final margin comes as two of the three judges gave Trinidad each of the last three rounds. But once again, the final scores, Hamada with the fight even, Logiste with Trinidad the winner by a point, and Roth with the 2-point margin. And now let's go to our reporter, Ricardo Celis in Puerto Rico.
Thank you very much, Jim. Listen to this. The feeling here in San Juan de Puerto Rico is just incredible. All these fans, they never lost the faith in the local boy, Felix Tito Trinidad. Tito Trinidad's mother told me yesterday that she sent a special soup, una sopa de pollo, to her son, Tito Trinidad, to give more strength and stamina to beat Oscar de la Hoya. And it seems that the sopa de pollo really worked for Tito Trinidad tonight. Remember, I told you in the beginning of the broadcast, they're going to have a huge parade tomorrow here in San Juan de Puerto Rico to honor the new champion, Tito Trinidad. Now let's go back to James Brown in Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right, Ricardo, and I'm joined again by Roy Jones. And Roy, let me ask you a question. There were many more than just the diehard boxing fans watching this one tonight. And an obvious question, how can a fighter lose when he's out-connected his opponent?
Well, it's simple, JB. Sometimes guys have to understand that CompuBox only does a little bit of the job. It doesn't explain who's the ring general, who's in control of the fight, who's making the fight go the way they want it to go, and who's the busier of the fight.
And in your mind, that was Trinidad as well?
Trinidad was the aggressor. He kept pushing the pressure, pushing the pressure. If you win 6 rounds and you give him 6, you got to draw a fight. But it's more likely that they would give him the fight if you gave him the last 6, because the last 6 mean a little bit more than the first 6. You think a fresh horse would jump out and get a big lead, but you give that horse that can come from behind a lot of credibility, because you think that he always has a chance as long as the race is going on. So in our mind, sometimes when a guy jumps out to an early lead, he can coast and protect the rounds and win the fight, but you still have to win every other round. Perfect example. When I